Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, entitled Dad breaks my leg because I continuously blocked his son from scoring. My mom has been abusive and a bully to everyone and now wonders why she is alone. Making my senior parents homeless. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled Dad breaks my leg because I continuously blocked his son from scoring. We had a volleyball tournament. For reference, I'm a middle blocker, 6 feet 5 inches and a vert of 70 centimeters. Game starts and everything goes good. Eventually Entitled Dad's kid gets subbed in because his team wasn't scoring, and apparently he's a star player. I blocked every hit he went for and his dad started to get visibly angry, starting to shout at me and stuff as well. After the game ended, we won and I blocked nearly every shot from this guy. The entitled dad came to me asking what my problem is and stuff. I said, "Sorry man, it's my job." He started laughing and stomped on my shin. It's broken and I'm currently in hospital writing this story, and the dad should hopefully end up in jail. Also planning on suing for permanent damages. Doctor says I may not be able to play volleyball ever again, and I got a college offer. Definitely press charges. Which country is this in, by the way? Also, wow, when I read the title I thought this was hockey or rugby or some other form of contact sport, but volleyball? That makes the dad doubly insane. I just feel sad for his kid. Hope he doesn't turn out the same. And I hope fervently that you regain full control and strength in your leg as soon as possible. Australia, I got accepted to a US college because I play really well, so depressing. I'd figure out the cost of a 4-year degree and make him pay that full ride scholarship. I hope I can get that. Sounds like grievous bodily harm. If in Queensland, maximum penalty is 14 years or life in prison, depending on if it is proven to be an intentional act. Police will be keen to hear from you. You can get a tax-free recognition payment from the government. Basically a grant because you were a victim. If you win in court, you must repay this. They can also pay for physio and counseling. Best of luck. I'm not a lawyer. I've been through this myself. You need to post this in one of the legal advice forums. You should definitely sue and press charges. I think you should press charges and sue the bastard. Hopefully you'll get better soon. Aside from obvious violence and stupidity. Wow, what a crap dad. When someone annoys you by taking victory from you, the right answer is to assault them and get revenge. Hope he's gonna pay for your whole scholarship so that the son gets to learn how far consequences can go. What to say, that's rough buddy Zuko. Hope it all works out. Playing sports can be a great thing and I hope you get to continue. My mom has been abusive and a bully to everyone and now wonders why she is alone. I, 19F, have lived with my mother all my life but moved out a year ago due to multiple traumatic events in the past. As of last week, I got the official PTSD diagnosis for this and I plan to cut ties. She has never been the nurturing type and always just given me the bare minimum that I needed to survive. I'm talking, my friends had to teach me at 13 or so how to brush my hair and teeth, cause my mom couldn't be arsed to do it. They also had to explain things you usually learn in preschool that my mom also failed to show me, like not to hit or even touch other kids if they didn't want it. She left me alone for the first time when I was 6, overnight, and when I called crying 20 minutes after she left, my mom said that she would only come home if there was an emergency, and I was so scared to be alone I almost threw myself down the stairs on purpose so that she would come home. I chickened out and cried myself to sleep. The next day she said, "See, that went well, no need to be a baby about it," and from that point forward just expected me to be okay with her dipping whenever she felt like it. She said I looked like a Chinese prostitute because I had makeup on for the first time and the shade was too pale for me. She said that all the men would be looking at me in that way and that I would be a pretty sight/distraction for them. I was 12, and I was about to go to church for a ceremony. She has repeatedly made it known that she doesn't care about my well-being nearly as much as my chores being done, my grades being good, and people think she's a good, brave, single mom. From not caring that I wouldn't eat or show up at her house for days just to see if that would make her worry, to calling me fat even though I'm perfectly healthy and she is the obese one, there is a lot to unpack here. I'm going to therapy and I'm getting better. Responsible for my PTSD is something she did when I was 6 or 7. She would invite our neighbor and her 2 sons over so they could play with me and the grown-ups would talk. Those 2 boys ed me multiple times during those playdates. I begged my mom not to let them come over again with tears in my eyes. She responded by saying I should be grateful those older boys were even indulging me. After all, boys that age don't want to play with girls, much less younger babies like myself. It stopped after she fought with the neighbor. Meanwhile, my memories got repressed and I only remembered these things after 2 years of therapy. That was just the context. Sorry for trauma dumping. My birthgiver's most recent escapade is this. Ever since my grandma, her and my aunt's mother, died, my aunt doesn't celebrate Christmas with my mother. She says it's because she thinks the holiday is overrated, but whenever I come to visit on December 24th or 25 to drop off presents, the entire house is decorated beautifully and I'm always invited to stay for dinner, a movie, or a snack. I think my aunt likes to celebrate Christmas, just not with her sister. My sister, the golden child and an enabler for my mother's tantrums, spends one holiday with our mother and one with her baby daddy's family so the kids get even visits. So, imagine my surprise when after a year of little to no contact suddenly I'm called by Mother Dearest, asking me to come home and spend Christmas with family. I have been at my dad's for Christmas for 5 years in a row. I was the first to leave to spend the holiday elsewhere, then came my aunt, and then this year my sister. Why I should throw around my plans because she failed to keep her family close literally every other day of the year is beyond me, and I tell her so. Now of course this is very sad, and I'm a horrible daughter/person for doing this and leaving my poor mother alone on Christmas. Boo-hoo. Some family members have called and told me to not be selfish and it's the time for family to come together. I tell them I am with my family, and if they think it's so sad that this poor, narcissistic, abusive she-devil has to spend a cold December night alone, then they can come and pick her up. No one wants to do that. Big surprise. My aunt is staying out of it. My dad says it's my right to do whatever I want on Christmas and would not recommend going back out of pity and guilt. My mom is crying and calling and guilt-tripping me and begging me to come home. My sister says I'm being cruel and a selfish brat. The woman is my mom and she gave birth to me. Our family is really small, so there are like 7 people on either side. Can someone please tell me I'm not insane? I think I need to hear that. Or would you keep someone like this in your life? Aside from the essay, this is the tamer stuff she did. Edit. For those of you wondering where my dad was during all of this, she basically used him as a donor and peaced out. They both wanted a child but not a relationship, so they agreed that he would be a weekend dad and I would stay with my mom most of the time. Only she started reducing contact the second I was born. She didn't put his name on the birth certificate without anyone's knowledge. He only got to see me like once every 2 months if we got lucky, and even then my mom complained that that was too much. My dad wasn't aware of how I'd been treated, and I only recently told him. Mostly cause I repressed half the bad stuff that happened and the other half I thought was normal as a child. He was horrified. What's weird is that she never seemed to want me around, like she'd leave for days during school weeks with little to no warning, or during summer she'd ship me off to a camp I didn't want to go to. My dad would have gladly had me on all of those occasions. I don't know why she didn't let me go. At this point, I think she was just acting cruel cause she could. I would tell your sister if she is so concerned she can take your mother to whatever plan she has. You absolutely have nothing to feel guilty over. Your mom made her bed. Block her for the season, and on December 26th text her, see, that went well, no need to be a baby about it. But FR, don't ever give in. Go no contact with everyone in that side of the family, asides of your aunt. Please do this. Tell your sister she's free to start going back since she had been going all this time. You have every right to cut her off, and anyone who tries to give you shit about it can pound sand. Making my senior parents homeless. I, 30F, and my father, 64M, have historically had a rocky relationship. My parents divorced when I was 5 and he married the women he cheated on my mother with. I was an only child and she had 4 kids from a previous marriage. During my childhood years, I spent most of the allocated time dedicated to my father in the divorce with my paternal grandparents. Every 2 weeks and 42 days in the summer. They lived in a different state. I cherished the time I had with them and they would always go to bat for me. There was some tension caused early in my dad's new marriage due to my stepmom demanding that my GPs go back to the store one Christmas and get equal amount of gifts for all of her children. Even taking some from me gifting to her youngest. I spent many times waiting on my mom's sofa waiting for my dad to pick me up and he never did. I would later find out he was on family vacations with his new family. I could spend all day telling Cinderella stories, but I need to keep focus on this story. My grandparents picked up his slack. We spent summers learning how to make baskets, gardening, camping and various different activities. Their home was a second home to me. When I was 13 I went to go live with my dad after some methodical brainwashing and I then would rarely see my GPs. My GM would call and they would ignore it. It would hurt my heart to see it on the caller ID knowing they were just on the other line, but my dad and SM would not allow it unless I sat at a table with them while on a call. Fast forward to summer of my freshman year, we went to visit my dad's side of the family. On the last night my aunt and uncle who lived next door asked if I could stay the night with my cousins. My SM wanted her youngest daughter to be included. They declined because my SS was a thief. A fight ensued in the front yard that night resulting in physical altercations. My stepmother shoved my 74-year-old pap to the ground. He had a hip replacement in the 90s and already had a stiff walk. I was utterly terrified and distraught. As the chaos ensued I packed my belongings because they said we were leaving. I vowed then that this would be the last straw and I would never forgive them. We missed their 50th wedding anniversary because my stepmom was still upset over what his family did to her that night. The next spring my pap had a stroke and it was never the same. The man that helped raise me during his son's shortcomings didn't remember my name. He died in 2014. Later, I left home when I was 18 to go to college where I met my husband. He has been my rock and helped when my dad throws fits in the last few years when he doesn't get his way. He has showed me nothing but unconditional love and support and is the father to our child mine never could muster to be. I go no contact with dad every couple years because of his behavior. There is an old saying that time heals all wounds, but I don't believe that to always be true. I maintained a relationship with my mammy, paternal grandmother, until her death in December. She was a cheeky one who left notes for us to find after death. This woman never forgot a thing when she felt slighted. That also reflected in her will. I inherit the house that has been deeded to me since 2001. My dad knew they would give it to me, but I honestly think he thought he had a chance of fighting me for it. Since 2012, he and my SM have been living in an RV that is now starting to fall apart. He is retired military and has no savings. Right after the funeral he stashed his belongings in closets. I discovered this after I changed the locks and added cameras as I live out of state and wanted security for the home before I sell my house and move into my childhood home. I put his stuff and what was owed to him in storage and my uncle gave him the keys. After learning this, he's been furious. My step-siblings keep reaching out telling me I'm heartless for keeping him out of his parents' home. He called crying and I coldly told him if they wanted him to have it they would have left it to him. I also told him he should have treated his parents better when they were alive. I have the deed in my hands and there's nothing left for him to do about it. The estate is almost settled and what land he does get will also have my name on the deed. I would rather share my childhood home with my daughter and all the whimsical things it had to offer. Even if my dad ends up homeless. Let his stepkids take care of them. What a pair of they are. He's brought of filial law on multiple levels occasions. 3 out of 4 step-siblings are all on welfare, and between all 4 siblings have 12 children. They have too many kids to take care of already. They've spent a lot of money supporting my stepsisters over the last 2 decades, which has likely contributed to their current financial state. He literally made his bed, and now he can sleep in it. He cared more for SM and her hellspawn than for you. So, I agree, if he ends up homeless, that is 100% on him and has nothing to do with you. Don't let some idiot who has zero stake in this come up and give you the "but he is family" crap. He has not treated you as family, so he is not family to you. He is the sperm donor, nothing else. You have no part in your father becoming homeless if that happens. He had his whole life to prepare for this and apparently failed. My dad did the same thing and then spurned my offer to live in a house I provided. He wound up in a shitty 1-bedroom apartment and deep in debt, and I felt no remorse at all. So, sleep well, OP. He's not a senior. He's of working age and can buy his own home. I'm 63. I'll fight you on this one, LOL. I can tell you from experience that cutting toxic parents out of your life for good is a wonderful, freeing experience. Please don't feel guilty in any way. Stepkids can take care of them. What happened to your MO? I am honestly confused why she vanished from your life. NTA. You owe your father and the step horror show nothing. The step siblings can inherit off your stepmother parents and their respective sperm donors' parents. They have no entitlement to anything of yours, they are completely unrelated to your grandparents. I'd trespass the lot if them including your father from your property. Further to that, full non-contact appears to be the way to go. While you have any contact, they will keep pushing for a handout. By the way, your title is wrong. You aren't making him homeless, you're just not giving him a free home that the previous owner didn't want him to have. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.